What's up, Meta Nerds? This video is all about the IG Lancer combat droid. He's actually the first droid produced of the IG series. Its later brothers, of course, being the IG-88 and the IG-100 Magna Guards. The IG Lancer droid was created by Flut Design Systems. They were a small company located in the Outer Rim on the banking planet of Munilist. Fully assembled, this thing was 1.96 meters tall, or about 6 feet 4 inches, making him the same height as Mace Windu. Its head came to a point where it contained a transmission antenna, and it was able to have excellent battlefield awareness, due to its three 360-degree rotating photoreceptor eyes. Its shoulder armor came to a distinct point, which might have been just more intimidating than practical. And its core contained the power supply and activators, which when combined with its minimalistic frame, helped to provide the Lancer droid with incredible torque, resulting in limb strength that was at least twice as strong as a B-1 battle droid. Some people think that it was a flaw of its design to have these kind of pincer gripper hands. This type of hand made it so that the Lancer droid couldn't use regular blasters and was basically restricted to only being able to use the power lance. But it should be pointed out that it had an admirable speed and could deal out a lot of damage in hand-to-hand combat. But back to that power lance. Some compare it to a really long force pike, and it is similar in the fact that it does have a vibro edge shaft. But it really dealt damage because this cone-like tip would heat up to extremely high temperatures. So when you combine this cutting and melting ability, the power lance could take out enemy armor with devastating effectiveness. Here we see how a clone trooper is able to use one. With a glancing blow, it's able to melt right through this Hailfire droid. And here we see the IG Lancer combat droid picking out crucial parts of the ATTE and then ramming into it, melting right through the armor and melting down important bits inside, causing complete failure and resulting in the explosion of the ATTE. Now the IG Lancer combat droid has a pretty cool history. Like I mentioned before, it was designed and manufactured by Flut Design Systems. Now if you're wondering why you haven't heard a lot of Flut, or why this one wasn't made by Holowan Mechanicals, it's all thanks to our friends over at the Intergalactic Banking Clan. When its designers had dreams of filling the galaxy with murderous droids, they approached the Munes for startup capital for something they would call Project Flut Droid. But believe it or not, the Munes were more interested in making money than they were in making dreams come true. Shortly after the company finished producing the IG Lancer combat droid, they found that they were unable to keep up with the loan payments. It wasn't long before the Banking Clan seized all of the company's assets. And before the start of the Clone Wars, the Intergalactic Banking Clan had complete ownership over the remaining IG Lancer combat droids, including all the blueprints that they had made for future IG series combat droids. The IBC chairman, San Hill, decided to show off his new acquisition and placed them in guards in front of their downtown city skyscrapers. They struck a really imposing image of the power of the Banking Clan and helped to show others that the Munilist people were ready for war. Not too long after this, the Clone Wars broke out across the galaxy, and it was 4 months after the Battle of Geonosis that fighting reached the Banking Clan homeworld on the planet of Munilist. Here, the IG Lancer combat droid finally got to see some action. Jedi General Obi-Wan Kenobi led an attack against San Hill's ruling citadel, or skyscraper in deep downtown, but the Banking Clan hired a mercenary by the name of Dirge. Dirge was able to coordinate the attacks of dozens of IG Lancer droids, taking out many ATTEs and turbo laser cannons. In response, General Obi-Wan was able to mount a defensive, and clone troopers hopped on their own speeder bikes and pitted Power Lance against Power Lance in a good old-fashioned joust. It seems like an equal amount of IG series droids and clones were destroyed in this battle, but thanks heavily to Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Republic ended up winning the day. And although it wasn't used too often during the Clone Wars, its legacy survived long after the fall of the Republic, because when Holowan Mechanicals was appointed by the Banking Clan to take over all of the blueprints that they had acquired, they felt confident that the IG series droid could be great, based on the success of the Lancer droid. By improving upon these previous blueprints, Holowan Mechanicals was able to make the IG-72, IG-88, and the elite IG-100 Magna Guard designed for General Grievous. Well, that's where its history ends. But before you go, I want to go over some cool facts and some behind-the-scenes stuff. It's never said the exact model of speeder bike that the IG Lancer droid uses, but it looks a lot like the 74Z, which would be pretty funny because the 74Z was made by Aerotech Repulsor Company, a company that aligned with the Republic at the very beginning of the Clone Wars. I'm not saying Aerotech was selling to the enemy, there's tons of ways the Munes could have got their hands on these, but it was kind of funny to point out. Also, their thin, long limb design was said to be based on the look of the Munes, and the pointed shape of their head was based on the look of a lot of medieval helmets, especially those intended for jousting. Well, that's it for the IG Lancer combat droid. If you liked it, go ahead and hit that like button so YouTube knows this is a video for Star Wars fans like you. Be sure to comment down below if I missed any interesting facts, or if you have a suggestion for future videos. And make sure you check out our description so that you can find out how you can learn even more about Star Wars while helping Meta Nerds lore grow. But most important of all, remember, keep your power lance up, and the Force will be with you. Always.